Hey everyone, so today we are going to be checking out some footage from the previous month, Cavalier's skill event quest, using Daredevil Hell's Kitchen with the Psylocke synergy. So the Cavalier's skill nodes are that whenever you inflict a disorient, incinerate, or shock debuff on the opponent as a skill champion, you completely shut down all chance of them evading. So the Daredevil and Psylocke synergy allows Daredevil to inflict a 12-second disorient debuff on the opponent whenever you knock them down, and that's via heavy attack or any special attack. So this is a really nice duration for the debuff as well. It's super easy to keep up, and it's very reliable, just any special attack for any heavy attack. Um, so there is a slight difference in the nodes between last month and this month. Instead of can't touch this from last month, which is just a 50% flat chance for the opponent to evade, it's now Mix Master, which they'll evade anytime you use two of the same attack in a row. So the Psylocke synergy also works with Elektra, but the other synergies that I have here are the Spider-Gwen synergy, which when charging a heavy attack, your opponent has a 100% chance to miss. And this kind of gives you a little bit of a safety net to throw that heavy attack whenever you are trying to look for an opportunity to refresh it. Can't get a special attack off easily, but you can only use this once every 15 seconds. And then I also have Nick Fury and Quake for the evade synergy, just to give you those 3 extra safety nets in case you mess up, because this is it's very skill-based play style. Trying to keep that disorient up, throwing off heavy attacks every now and then. So the Black Bolt fight was just a little bit of a warm-up for me. I was trying to learn how to get my timing down and everything. But also with the skill nodes, each time you prevent an evade via any of those 3 debuffs, you also gain a Fury, increasing your attack by 35%, I think, and you can gain up to 10 of these, so it's like 350% extra attack. So as you can see, the damage is really climbing here against this Black Panther. Now, Daredevil Hell's Kitchen, he recently got a buff back in December. It wasn't a great buff. He was a terrible champion to begin with, and now he's probably like a middle of the pack champion. But I really like Daredevil Hell's Kitchen. I think he's got a very fun play style. Essentially what you want to do is you want to build up to a special 2 using intermittent heavy attacks to keep your combo somewhere around 30. But you don't want to get it any higher than 30. And once you fire off special 2 with the 30 combo or lower, that'll bring you down into his Murdoch Boy stance, and essentially you gain a rage for like 20-ish seconds after you use the special 2. And when you're in Murdoch Boy, you have a 100% chance to shrug off any debuff with a certain cooldown, I believe. Now, the thing about this rage debuff off the special 2 is that when it expires or is shrugged off, you gain a Fury buff, giving you a massive increase in damage. So in Murdoch Boy stance, you immediately shrug off this rage, and you immediately get that Fury buff instead of having to wait the 20-ish seconds for it to go away. So as you can see here, Daredevil's finishing these fights in about 40 to 50 hits, roughly, which is not terrible. It's not the best, but the thing about the skill node requirements is that it's restricted to a lot of champs who are more recent within the last year or 2, like Mole Man, Black Widow, Deadly Origin, Nick Fury are 3 of the best champs for this. Killmonger is also up there because he just has True Strike. But any champion that previously relied on ability accuracy reduction to prevent evade was not gaining the Furies. They've since changed this, which is nice. But Daredevil Hell's Kitchen, I think, is still a really good option, especially because you have, now as long as you're throwing a lot of light attacks, they'll be constantly trying to evade, the evades will fail, and you can just keep stacking up those Furies and couple that with the special 2 Fury. So against this Spider-Ham here, he's got a little bit more evade, mechanics, every time he would evade, he'd go unblockable, and that's always really difficult to manage when fighting him as a defender, is how, to manage that unblockable, because he can just retaliate immediately, throw it right into your block, and you're just toast. But now, I counter here with a heavy, hit the disorient on him. He's not evading, he's not gaining the unblockable, and we can just hammer into him with all those furies, gaining all that damage. So here we take out Spider-Ham. I don't know how many hits that was. It was 53 hits, so not terrible, not the best. Daredevil's damage is not super high um, for how much ramp up you have to do to get to the massive damage, but the skill node really helps, and this synergy is the only thing that allows him to do that. Technically, he does have 65% ability accuracy reduction on all of his attacks when he's in Styx Apprentice stance, and that's at a combo of 16 or more. But you can't really rely on that too much because, again, it's only a 65% ability accuracy reduction. Now, in this fight, we're going to be losing a little bit of damage because we can't get the bleeds off the special tube because Luke Cage is bleed immune. But as you can see here, this entire time on this path, it's been super easy to keep up the disorient, just firing off that heavy attack at the beginning, and then usually it lasts long enough that I can either punish their heavy attack or punish their special or heavy attack with a heavy, or just get into that SP2 and then fire that off and knock him down. Now, as you can see there, we actually countered Luke Cage's indestructible with the disorient debuff for quite some time, and that's also just a really nice piece of utility. It adds an extra 35% ability accuracy reduction. So I don't know if it stacks or if it's multiplicative, but if it does stack while you have the disorient debuff and you're in Styx Apprentice mode, that's 100% ability accuracy reduction on the defense, which is really nice. But I do believe I do think it's multiplicative, so it's somewhere in the, I don't know, 80% range, I think. So this last fight here of the path is Aegon. It was a little bit difficult to get that disorient debuff on him at the beginning. He just kept getting lucky with his evades and whatnot. And as you can see throughout this entire quest, the Nick Fury Quake synergy has been huge with just being able to be really gutsy with those heavy attack counters, trying to get those heavy attacks in to keep that disorient debuff up. The other node on this path is No Hit Mercy, which is every time you knock down the defender, they gain a cruelty buff for X number of seconds. I don't know how long it is. But that's not really anything to worry about. We are knocking them down a lot, but it's, as long as you don't get hit, you don't have to worry about the extra critical damage rating. Now, throughout these fights, the hit counter is a lot higher than most other champions would be able to do, but you generally can't judge a champion on how good they are based on their hit counter, because Daredevil has usually an inflated hit counter because he has a standard 6 combo instead of a standard 5 combo. So we take down Aegon there, roughly 50-ish hits again. So I try to take on Super Skrull here at the end, but it doesn't go very well. I get clipped by a special 1, don't have the timing down on that yet. So Daredevil's not the best counter in the world for Super Skrull, but he could get the job done if you have a lot better skills than I do. But that basically wraps up all I wanted to highlight about him doing the actual paths. There are, I believe, better champs for this, just better damage output wise and utility wise. Black Widow Deadly Origin, I think, is the best option for these skill nodes. I don't have her as a 5 or 6 star though, so it's quite difficult to use a 4 star unless you're trying to do that 4-star Cavalier challenge. But with her, it's just super easy to stack up the shocks, just keep those up, just completely shut down all the evade. But I personally love playing with Daredevil Hell's Kitchen. I'm so glad that I took him up to rank 5. Pumped a whole bunch of 6 stones in him. He's like at 160, I think. But that covers everything about the skill quest with Daredevil. So the only requirement is that you have either Psylocke or Elektra on your team, and then you can just keep not stacking them. You can just keep up that disorient debuff, completely shut down their evade, and just have a lot of fun while doing it. So you did see some massive damage numbers. We were throwing like 12K mediums, 8K light attacks. The special attacks were clocking in for about 40, 50,000 damage. And these are some pretty beefy opponents. It's like 200,000 hit points normally. Um, but personally, I love Daredevil Hell's Kitchen. I'm very happy with the buff. I think it could have been better, but for what he is now, I think he's a great champ. But that's going to cover it for today's video. So make sure to check in every now and then to see when I post another video, and I will catch you guys in the next one.